there have been people along the way like Greg Tinker that have, and I call it a target life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and others. I mean, there's others along the way that when you're a kid, and that have taken the time to invest in you, that help you see what a genuine Christian looks like.
Right.
You know, and he was that for me, and I know he has been that for you. You know, so how has he impacted your faith life?
Greg Tinker he played a major role in my life in a time where I needed to see a lot of good things in my life earlier. And when I was going to 8th grade, we lost our coach, and I'll never forget us thinking about, who's going to be our coach. And we look up and we see this light blue. What kind of car was that? Was it a Mustang?
I don't know. I just remember he had that salt and pepper jacket and the poofy hair, you know.
And he had a light blue car. I think it was a Mustang. But anyway, it pulls in. We're like, who's this guy? And he gets out and he starts talking. We're like, I don't know about this dude, But he coached us that year, and we were his first team. And I'll never forget, like, seeing him in class, the way he talked, the way he acted, like he was always the same, and he impacted kids' lives through his actions and through what he was saying, just in every way. So I got a good view of what I wanted to do when I saw him, and that's when I found out, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to impact others like that dude does. Like, I don't know. And then, so I go into high school, and I'm playing baseball, I get an opportunity to play in college, and then I get frustrated and get a little upset with myself because I've acted stupid, and I decided to give it up. And I'm laying around one day, and beating on the door is Greg Tinker. He said, "Get up, we're going to go take some ground balls." I went, "No way, why?" "You're going to get an opportunity." He said, "I don't know where, but you're going to get another opportunity." I said, "Coach, I don't care about playing no more. I'm done. Like I'm washed. I'm just mentally I can't take another coach like that. I can't." He said, "Get up. The Lord's got a plan." Mm-hmm. And I always thought, the Lord's got a plan for me? As sorry as I am, come on, Coach. That's what my way of thinking was so bad out, and I was such in a bad place. But he kept me going to the baseball field, taking ground balls, and hitting every day. I'm sure his arm is probably dead today because of it, but he threw me so much BP, hit me so many ground balls. It was amazing. And he didn't have to. Dude didn't have to. I was in college, but he loved me. Mm-hmm. And man, he embraced me. And I just wanted to be like him. And I'll never forget, we go to a couple of workouts. We go to one workout in particular, and it's where he went to school at.
Trevecca
Nazarene University. And we're there, and I have a really good day. And at the end, I thought, man, they're going to offer. There's no way. I hit a few balls out. I was hitting off the wall in the gaps, line drives. I was trying to stay within myself and not do anything special. And it was like everything Tinker says, just do what you do, man. Stay up the middle. Think the gap, think the middle. I was bouncing balls off the wall, and I was having a good day. And backhanded balls, they make you backhand it in left field almost and throw it to first. And I was hitting the first baseman on a rope, and I thought, man, I've got this. Mm-hmm. And we go after, and he said, "Look, man, we want you. We need a player like you. You could impact this team in a lot of ways, but we have no scholarships." Just like that, I'm like, "So what? You want me to walk on it?" Like, I can't. My dad and mom, they're not going to do this because I've already got in trouble. Like, I'm not going to get another opportunity. And so I got in the car and I said, "Coach, I'm done." He said, "You're not done. All right, this is not your end, dude. This is the beginning. It's not even your beginning." And he said, just believe me. All right, trust God. He's got a plan for you, Heath." He kept saying that. And I was like, trust? Like, how? Like, did you not just hear the guy, Coach? Like, I trust you and what you say, but this is not real. I'm not getting an opportunity, Coach. And I couldn't go anywhere in state at the time. I'd done some things that I shouldn't have done, and you know, it was merited, no doubt. But I get home, and on a Saturday morning, that was on like a Thursday. On that Saturday morning, Dave Altop, who is another very big influence in my life, just like Greg, he calls and said, "Hey man," he says, "Hey Biggie." I said, "Hey Coach, what's up, man?" He said, "Man, are you sitting down?" I said, "Yes, sir." He's a Yankee from the North. He said, "You wouldn't believe this, Biggie," and it's January, you know. So no, it's December because it was going in the second semester, and he said, "I just had two guys on half scholarships that they got caught drinking last night on campus." He said, "So guess what? They lost their scholarships." He said, "You know what a half and a half equals?" He said, "A full. How would you like to come from a full scally, Biggie?" I said, "I'll come tomorrow, Coach." I filled my leagues. I called Tinker. Ooh, that was powerful. And I said, "Man, you ain't gonna believe this, Coach." He cried.
Yeah.
We just had a big time, and that's when I knew like divine intervention was real. And I'll never forget the postcard. I got a postcard from before I went to Tribeca from Coach Altop. He said, "Son, you you have been blessed in many ways." He said, "God has a plan for you." He said, "This is divine intervention." And that's when I learned divine intervention was real. He said, "You're going to do big things here on this campus. You're going to do big things for this team, and you and I are going to ride this thing through." And postcard was amazing. I still have it. I'll send you a picture of it. Like, and what's so cool about this past year, we're playing. We're playing at Cleveland High School in a class for 3 days. That's where he lives at. I hear, "Hey, Biggie." I turn around. All 3 days, he comes to all 3 days, every game. He didn't miss. And we cried, laughed, and like, when I left, he really cried. Oh, it got me so emotional. And that's when I knew, man, there's nothing like relationships with like player, coach, dad, father, son, like father, daughter. There's nothing like relationships, man. But that was really special.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, man.
And I'll never forget my assistant coaches, Coach Lane and Coach Driver. They said, wow, Coach, that was so powerful. They were crying.
Yeah.
It was just powerful, man.
Yeah.
He left in tears. He probably knew that's probably the last time we were going to see each other. I don't know. You know, I hope. No, we're going to see each other in heaven. I know that. But we've stayed in touch since then. It was really cool to see him, and I hadn't seen him since '96.
Yeah. Wow.
It was wild, though.
Awesome.
But he's kept up with me, and it was really cool.
Yeah. You know, I think back to like the glory days of your coaching. You know, I mean, when you think back, I mean, you've been doing this a long time, man. I mean, but when you think about you just getting started, you know, Townley and Maddox, I mean, that's kind of when you really started to cut your teeth.
Right.
And develop your reputation as a hard-nosed coach. I mean, let's face it, you've had that reputation. You know, when you think back to those teams and those years, what are the things that really come to mind?
You know, the first thing that come to mind is I didn't deserve an opportunity. I didn't deserve it, and I didn't even have an education degree at the time, and they were looking for a coach at Townley, and I didn't even know. And my dad talked to Kenneth Lakey, who they were in the guard together, and Kenneth said, "Tell Heath to go out there and interview for that job." And Dad told me, and I said, "Dad, why? My degree's in sport and exercise science. I need to probably go into Planet Fitness or Gold's Gym or applying for a job. Like, why?" He said, "I don't know." Kenneth said, "Go out there." And I said, "Yes, sir." So I'll go. And I talked to Kenneth first, Coach Lakey first. I don't want to call him Kenneth because I respect him too much. But Coach Lakey was very, very big in me getting hired. He was the reason I got hired. And
you took over for him, right?
I did.
Okay.
Which was, I had some shoes to fill.
What year was this?
This was '98.
Okay.
And I'll never forget. I go in and to interview, and I see pictures of him on the wall, and there was a bronze like like the Hall of Fame thing. His face was on there. I was like, what? I can't follow this guy. This is like following Barry Bryant or Saban or something. Like, there's no way. And they look at basketball out there like you think of Indiana, like the movie Hoosiers. Like, there's no football. There wasn't no basketball. I'm sorry. There wasn't no softball. There wasn't no baseball. There was basketball. That was it. And when you went to and this is no lie, when you went to a driveway in Townley, it was wore out because there was basketballs in every driveway. All the grass was gone because they were playing basketball right there. And they just loved it. And I got the opportunity because Kenneth Lakey vouched for me. And I got I'll never forget, I went in and interviewed with Miss Pike, and she said, I always knew that the guy that replaced Coach Lakey was going to be a guy Coach Lakey recommended, and it was you. And which basically meant, I didn't deserve it. Coach Lakey got me that job, and I had to take like 5 classes in 3 years to get an education degree, and I'd already taken 3 of them. How cool is that? Mm-hmm. And so the Lord, God, the Lord was in this, man. And so I took those 2 classes I had to take in that summer, and man, it was so fun being at Townley because they love basketball. I found out then that basketball, in sports, had shaped my life, and I was going to try my best to shape their life. So Coach Lakey was hard-nosed. He was tough, and all I heard were these stories about Coach Lakey grabbing kids by their shirt on their hip, and he would pinch you and
twist you.
Yeah. I never did that, but I wanted to. But they said, I'll never forget, Coach Atkins, that was at Sipsey. He said, "Do you know you kind of coach like Coach Lakey? You're into it like him. Your eyes are kind of like." I'm like, that's a compliment, then, man. That's a good thing. So I guess I kind of was molded by. To me, he's the best coach that's ever come through this county. Like, he's one of the top 2 or 3, and he stayed there. And I'll never forget. Before he passed, I said, Coach Lakey, why not? You could have went to Walker College. You could have went to Walker High School. You could have went anywhere. Why did you stay here at Townley? Because I'm still at Townley at the time. And when he passed, and he said, I always like staying at Townley because I like being a big fish in a little pond. He said, I don't want to go to a big ocean and be a little fish. And I said, I get it, He said, but let me tell you something, son. He said, you go where the Lord wants you to go. He said, because your opportunities might be bigger than what mine were, and you can affect just as much or more than I can. And I took his advice, and I stayed for another year, and I left. But man, those years really created my style, my way of, I wouldn't say it was my way of, my philosophy has changed because, we live in a world of change. If I coach like I did then, I get fired. If I coach like I did, I lose kids. It was like Bobby Knight back then. Bobby Knight was a big time coach back then. We all looked at him like we look at, who's the guy, Nate Oates or Pelfrey or one of those guys today, Mark Pope, But, I always thought Bobby Knight was the guy because, Hoosiers, Indiana basketball. So I mimicked what I saw, but I mimicked not just his style, but what he did on offense, on defense. He was hard-nosed. They took charges. I knew if we were going to be successful at that school with no athletes, because my first team had 6 kids, and that's how many boys I had in 8th grade. So that was my 8th grade team, those 6 boys. Had more girls than we did boys. And those 6 boys went 0-18 the year before. And we went 12-6, 12-5, and we got runner-up in the county. And they finished dead last the year before. And I thought that we had accomplished it, but I was disappointed in myself. I thought I had let, the program down. So I always wanted to do more. I tried, and I worked them too much. I really did. I went back and I've apologized all those guys because I worked them to death, Al.
I think a lot of young coaches do that, though. It's like, I talked about this with Ron Radford, who is the Southern Union head coach. We had him on our podcast last week. But, I mean, like, when you're young and there's not much separation between you, and I know this is middle school boys, but, I mean, you're still a young guy. And going back then, there was that philosophy of hard-nosed, Bobby Knight, like just driving people to succeed mentality.
Right.
And I don't know if that works anymore. I think you can do some of that, but I think that time has largely passed.
It has.
And so my question to you is, and I want to get back to Maddox in a second, but I mean, like, have you mellowed out a little bit over the years? I mean, have you calmed down? Because honestly, when I watch you coach, I don't see you going crazy. I mean, your eyes are not bugging out like they used to, right?
Yes, I appreciate you asking that. I appreciate you saying that because, man, some of my old players say, Coach, you went soft, Coach. You went soft. I found Christ.
Yeah.
It's not that I wasn't a Christian at that time. It was that I did things different. I thought that I had to be that way, and I didn't. But to reach some of those kids, like those kids were tough, and they were raised different. They were farmers. They were coal miners. Their daddies were coal miners. They were just hard-nosed kids, man. They wanted more. And the more I coached them hard, the better they got. I mean, they loved it.
Fed off of that a little bit.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna tell you, they still wanted to hang out with you. They wanted to go eat with you. They love middle school kids. They love you still. Right? They still have that innocence to them. Of they hadn't got a car yet, they hadn't got a girlfriend yet, they hadn't went south yet. So they still believe in Santa a little bit, I guess. So they love their coach, and I love the fact that they love being coached hard. So I coached harder. And I really have. I've apologized to them because we worked them to death. And so, yeah, I've mellowed out a lot. I had to. Number one, I was going to die if I kept coaching like that. I was going to have a heart attack, Al. You said it. My eyes were bugging out. I was out on the floor acting like a fool. And I got teed up probably more than anybody in the county or in the state. So, number one, I was embarrassing, myself. And I also, when I had my family and I'm coaching a game against, this is against Curry. And
was this at Townley or Maddox?
No, this is post. This is afterwards. And Molly Kate's in the stands, I guess mimicking what I'm doing. I'm hearing the stand. I don't see her, but the stands were laughing. And I'm like, what are they laughing at? But I'm watching the game and I look across and I see my daughter doing, I'm like this and she's like this. I stand up, she stands up and she starts doing this. I said, uh-oh, like it's time to change, Heath.
Yeah.
So that, was also a big moment for change for me. All right, she was watching what I did. So it's really important, for us to be an example for our children. So I decided, okay, I'm going to change, but also the times have changed now where you can't go like that. You can't work these kids to death and expect them to play other sports. Number one, you got to work with other coaches, with other sports, other teams. And when it gets in high school, you're not the big fish in the little pond anymore. You're just in the pond, and you want it to work because you love your town, you love your community. I take pride in coming back here because I'm from here. I love this place. I love our town. I love our city. I love our people. So it's a big thing for me because I feel like I'm going to let them down. I don't want to let these people down. I don't want to let these kids down. So everything I do here, it's very personal to me, but. Yes, I'm mellow, more mellow because I think it's the way now. I think you can talk to kids now because they need it. I think there wasn't a lot of single mothers back then. There was more marriage, more dads at home. Now, there's not.
They need more of a father figure.
Right,
Yeah.
so they need a guy that can, they can go to and talk with. And if I'm yelling and screaming, they're not going to come to me and ask me a question. I want them to come to me and be comfortable, come to my office and say, hey, Coach, man, I got this going on. And they do. And it means a lot to me because I get a text every day or a call from some of my kids. Somebody calls me or texts me every day. And it's always, can I go to the gym? And then it turns into sit in my office for 30 minutes and talking. And which I love being, a counselor, a father figure, whatever. We're all those things when you decide to be a coach. And at the time, I just thought I was a coach. Now I know it's a lot more to it. I've grown up, and I try to tell younger coaches when they ask, it's more about relationships, connections, and being good to the kids.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I look back at my coaching career is I felt like when I was coaching, and I was not anywhere near as spiritually mature as I am now. I'm not going to say I'm real spiritually mature now, but I'm just saying, look back. And I thought that I had to use bad language. I thought as a coach that I had to use bad language. And I hear stories about major college programs and the profanity that is being used by a lot of the coaches, and and I'm talking football, basketball, just you walk into practice and it is just horrible language. And especially as a believer. That's a complete lie, that you have to use profanity and
Absolutely.
that you have to overemphasize things with bad language. And I just don't know that that's the culture that I want to create if I'm a coach. And I think it's tragic that that kids that are, even college kids, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids are walking into that kind of environment where that sort of language is used, but everybody just thinks it's fine.
Right.
They just get a pass, and if some coach wants to use bad language on TV or something like that, they just get a pass, and everybody thinks they're the greatest thing in the world. But I just think it's a disservice to the kids to talk to them like that.
You're 100% right, Al. And there was a time in my coaching career where I would do that, and I'm gonna tell you, man, it just, when I think of it, again, I think of Lavertus Towns. I was hard on that guy, but the guy loved it, and the guy ate it up. And I'll never forget his dad saying to me, "Thank you, Coach, for being so hard on my son." And I think I'm glad I was hard on him to help him, be an overcomer. But I'm not proud of the way I did it sometimes, because I did it too harshly with my language.
I feel the same way.
And I've apologized.
Yeah, me too.
And I just don't do it no more. And if I slip up, I apologize immediately. I want my guys to know that, hey man, that's not the right way to react to things.
You don't have to cuss.
You don't.
If you're a coach, you can be a great coach and not use bad language.
Right.
We got to move on. I know we've been talking for a while, and man, I thoroughly enjoyed this. But I do. You and I mentioned when I came to camp the other day, and we mentioned about how the game is changing. And that's a very interesting dynamic. That's always been an interesting dynamic, because I think about just a few years ago about how the game was changing. For a while there, centers were almost obsolete. I mean, the big guy inside that plays it with their back to the basket, that was a thing of the past. And you've got all these big men that are stepping out and shooting the three. You've got the influence of the European game.
Right.
So what are your thoughts about the way the game is changing? You've got this Euro step stuff that's
Right.
So where is all that going? I mean, and you've got to change your coaching approach.
Absolutely.
It affects the way you approach practice.
It makes today's game, you got to be skilled, and it's hard to do that when you got kids playing three sports. You need them, in the gym working on skill, and we got kids that are underdeveloped when they play three sports, but they still help you because they're really athletic. But going back to the game has changed. I love it. The shot clock's coming. It's coming to Alabama. It's going to be here in probably a year or two. And I thought it was going to be here this year, but it's not. But, we used it in our classic last year because I thought we need to start.
Yeah.
We never got close to the shot. We never got a shot clock violation once in 2 games.
Yeah.
I knew then.
But y'all play fast.
We do. Our way of playing is different. It's we have to. We've got opportunities to score quick because you allow the team to get back on defense. It's 5-on-5. We like the advantage of having 5-on-4. And if we had to go 5-on-5, we had a big at the rim that's 6'9", you got to guard him. So what does that allow? A guy to hit 126 threes, another guy to hit 85. We led the state in made threes and also attempts, and I wanted to lead the state in that because we don't shoot middies much anymore. It's rim or threes. Do I believe in mid-range if you're open? But what do kids go in the gym and do? They either go into the rim and dunk and work on finishes, or they go to the three-point line, right? So fortunately, we got kids that can really shoot it, but teaching kids to play off 2 feet now is hard because they want to go up there like a Euro, and what happens? They get bumped, they lose the ball, So we try to get our kids to play off 2 feet, and it's so hard to get kids to understand you're not good off one son, you're good off two. All right, you got to go in there. You might have a little balance because these guys that are coming from other countries, the international game they're so polished, man. And those guys are going to get your college opportunity if you don't get your game right. So you got to be skilled to play this game. So it's more spread out now. It's dribble, drive, spread, Euro, and we're a combination of it. I love our system because it allows our guys to play. But it also allows our guys to be good at what they do. We don't let our guys get exposed in their deficiencies, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
And what was a testament to that was how well Miller Moody did last year. Right. I mean, you've got guys that are out shooting, and you're running the floor, and then you got this 6'8", 6'9" kid in the middle that's excelling. He's in that ecosystem that you've created. I mean, he flourished.
He did. I'm so proud of him, man.
I was going to say, have you ever been prouder of a player than Miller? I mean, he's just incredible.
Dude, I get emotional talking about him too. He just got baptized. Recommitted his life to Christ. He confessed his sins, and he said, "Coach, I'm clean." He said, "I'm so happy." This was yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you make me so proud, dude. Not just as a player, but as a person too. But he made us so good, man. He helped us in a variety of ways, and we're gonna miss him because he dominated this last year. Yeah. He dominated, but man, I always think about when I first got there and looking at him, having to run, and he's dead last in every sprint. He's dead last in every mile we ran, but he always ran. And he always finished. He's an overachiever. He's an overcomer. He's a fighter. And people look at him, they think marshmallow, cream puff. No, he's not. That joker, go guard him.
Yeah.
You tell me what he is after that. Because nobody in high school basketball could guard him with his back to basket. I don't care who it was. We played at the Webb schools. He dominated the kid. We played Hazel Green. He dominated that kid. He dominated everybody that guarded him. But now we have to change a little bit because we don't have that 6'9" presence. But we do have some 6'4s that have skill. So we're trying to get better from the perimeter because they want to dribble too much. They think, and this is all kids, this, they think to get the ball to move, they got to dribble it. Well, how about moving it, man? Make it move. And then
reverse it, yeah.
The percentage of going from one side to the next goes up about 40% every time it moves. And people don't realize that. So, and I'm a big analytics guy, I've got to a T almost when I tell my kids, if it reverses one time, it increases your chance 47%. All right, so if you do it again, guess what? It goes up about 20 more percent. So let's move the ball. Let's move it. Let's go big to big. Let's look in there, but let's keep it moving because guess what? When you cut through that blur cuts through, he's screening for that freaking lift right there. It's wide open. Or if we screen and roll, that lift's open. And if it's not, guess what? He's in a back cut. So the rim or the three is always open with us. And I love it, and I'm having to get an assistant coach now to learn it, but our kids love it. It fits our program because right now we've got a good crop of kids, but if we're deficient in an area, it's probably at the one, but the system allows it to be fine. And our guys beat some really good teams this summer without some really good players. So we're going to be just fine. We've adjusted, so we're fine.
Yeah. What keeps you motivated year in and year out? I mean, man, you've been doing this for a long time. What drives you every year?
I've been asked so much lately, and there's a rumor going around that I'm retiring. I don't know who started that mess. I'm not retiring. The moment I quit, the moment I don't think that I can impact a kid's life is the moment I get out. And I don't care about the wins and losses. I don't care about that. you know, some of the things that we always said, you know, when I got the job, I'll never forget, they asked me, you know, what are you going to do? Whatever. And I said, first, I said, we got to build a championship culture. How do you do that? You got to build championship kids. Like, we have got to build championship people. And if we don't build like high character, we're not going to get to the championship level. All right. If we don't get championship kids, we can't build a championship culture. So we've got great kids. We've got great culture now. We just hadn't got the championships. All right. The trophies. That's not the championship no more to me, man. Mm-hmm. The championship to me is winning kids to Christ, winning kids to be good people, mm-hmm. and to be positive influence in society. Mm-hmm. It's awesome for me to get to coach with former players. Mm-hmm. And I did that with 4. And it's like, I get emotional, man, when I see it. And God, that's a good father and a good coach, man. How awesome is that? And they thank me, and it's cool to be around people like that you know that you love, and they love you. And we've got a great environment of coaches, but the moment I feel like I can't affect kids like that, like I affected those guys, is the moment I get out. Mm-hmm. But as long as I got those guys around to help me, mm-hmm. I'm going to be fine. I just need a little bit more help now. Where I used to try to do everything by myself because I was that freaking stupid, stubborn. Yeah. You know, but I'm not as stubborn now.
Yeah. Well, man, I really appreciate your time, and I mean, we got to do this again and do it a little bit more regularly. But this has been awesome. I appreciate you opening up. I appreciate you humoring me with my goofy questions. But I just wish you the most success this year, and hope it's a great 25-26 year for the Vikings.
Well, thank you. I want you to know I appreciate you, our friendship. We go back a long time, Al.
Yeah, man.
And, man, just your family, your dad was one of my guys, man.
Yeah.
And, he and Greg Tinker were really good friends of mine. And, and you and I have always been close. But I appreciate you, your support, and I hope to continue success for you here, man, because you're an awesome dude. And the way you promote high school athletics and high schools, period, and the kids is amazing. Yeah. You're changing lives, man. Thanks, we appreciate you, man.
Thank you so much. All right, buddy. Appreciate you. You too, man.